Hey, what's up y'all? This is William, the permaculture consultant, and today we're going to be fixing some of the water issues in the compost. It's been storming like crazy. I tried to fix some of the water management issues last flip. I don't think it's really worked out because it's only rained heavier since then. Anyways, I'll show you guys how to fix that and how to do it in your own compost and some tips and tricks that I use. Now, before we get into that, if you need any on-site permaculture consultations, hit the links down below. If you have a permaculture Q&A that you would like answered, then comment down below with the hashtag permaculture Q&A at the beginning of it. And if you want to go to a Homestead meetup in East Texas, check out the links down below. It's June 8th. I think that's next weekend. Let's get on with the video. Now, I knew immediately when I walked up to this pile and uncovered it that we were going to have some water issues. Because it's smoking hot up here at the top. You might even be able to see some steam coming off. Probably not. But also you can see actinobacteria here at the very, very surface of this pile. So I know that there's probably going to be actinobacteria throughout this pile. If you've never experienced it before, this is what it looks like. A lot of people confuse this for like fungal activity. It's actually not fungal activity. It's actinobacteria activity, which is a facultative anaerobe, which is in between the good guys and the bad guys. It means it's on its way to being anaerobic. Now, it's pretty common for actinobacteria to be in your beginning stages of your compost piles, and it doesn't mean it's the end of the compost pile. It just means that we need to add more oxygen to this compost pile. The best way to add oxygen to it is to flip it, and then I think afterwards we might even leave some chimneys. But let's go ahead and crack this thing open. I should say this is flip number 4. Flip number 3, like there was actinobacteria throughout, but it rained pretty heavy right before flipping that. So what I did was basically just shake it out very, very well and stack it up nice and neat, and was hoping that that would be enough, but it wasn't. So now I'm gonna crack into this one and hopefully there's less actinobacteria, but probably not because it's been raining consistently since then. The ultimate solution to this whole thing is do this in a very climate controlled area, someplace where I can control how much humidity is or if it's raining or not, just like a roof. That would be helpful. This is flip number 4 on this compost pile. If you want to learn how to make this compost pile, then hit the 3 ingredient compost playlist. Now, as I crack into this, I'm gonna see how soon I start seeing actinobacteria. You can see all that, well, you guys might not be able to, but I can see all that steam that's coming up out of that pile. And just a couple scoops in, and I can already see the actinobacteria. And whenever I'm flipping this, since it is so saturated, I'm going to really, really shake this stuff out, make sure it's nice and fluffed up. I want to introduce as much air into this pile as possible. Break up any clumps that you come across, anything like that. Make sure you introduce a ton of air. Yeah, as you can see, not even a third of the way into the pile, you can see plenty of this white actinobacteria. It's all good. The solution is to flip this, and then I'm for sure, the next thing is I'm going to shape the base because the base is going to be a little bit different. But I'm also going to make sure I add chimneys at the end of this as well. Now that I have enough material right here, I'm going to go ahead and spread it out into a circle. I'm going to go ahead and start creating the base of this. The reason for this is that I want to keep as little weight and material as in the center of this pile as possible. I want a place for the moisture to rise up and escape out of this compost pile. So now that we have this circle, I'm going to go ahead and start shaking the material out here on this pile and then placing it exactly where I want to on that section over there. Just like this. I can put it exactly where I need to if I shake it out here first. Another thing I should mention I do is, like, as I'm building this new pile, I'll stab my pitchfork in the center of it and then pry back. And I'll do this all the way around the compost pile. And what that does is kind of help make a more vertical wall on the outside, so that way the heat escapes through the top as opposed to the sides. And it also opens up the center. So it's really helpful whenever you have too much water in your pile, like I do right now. You can stab your pitchfork in the middle, pry back, stab it back, or stab it and then pry back, and then just do that all the way around. It does help if you stab and pry like into your leg a little bit. That way you can help support that vertical wall, and it's less likely to just go and collapse on you and stuff. That's an old school Jeff Lawton trick I learned. I learned that on Zaytuna Farm. Alrighty, so now that this pile is completely finished, I'm going to take this here rake and I'm going to take the handle and I'm going to shove it down the middle of this pile. It might take a few stabs there, but make sure you get all the way down to the bottom, and then you're just going to work the whole pile gently because it might jiggle over. Now if you need to, if you can't work it that much and you need to, you can stab another hole. Just come off a couple inches off to the side, stab another hole all the way through, and then you can do the same thing on the other side as well. Just stab a hole all the way through. Now make sure you adjust your chimneys according to how, you know, saturated it is. If this is like if you grab a handful and it's just dripping wet, then you probably need to add quite a few chimneys. Now this wasn't nearly that bad, but it was still pretty saturated, so I added 3 chimneys to this one. I'm also going to leave it uncovered for the rest of the day unless it starts raining, which is entirely possible because we're in East Texas right now during monsoon season, but unseasonably wet monsoon season. So there's that. That's flip number 4. I still have what, like 5 or 4 more flips on that compost pile before it's going to be finished, and then I can start letting it cure. I do have one pile that's almost completely cured. I just flipped it again today, not because it needed to be, but because I wanted it further over, and I might flip it one more time just to get it up at the top of that little strip that I have. But we'll see about that. Anyways, if you have any compost Q&A questions that you want, leave them down below in the comments. If you have any permaculture Q&A questions or any questions at all, just leave them down below in the comments. Also, I have an email list now. If you haven't seen that in the description, leave that down, or sign up for it down below if you want to be aware of, like, if we start selling products, new videos, meetups, stuff like that, fairs, all kinds of stuff. So hopefully this video was helpful for you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Until next time, I'll see you.